Golden Pants.
You're listening to the Draft in Hand podcast with your hosts, Greg, Ian, and Mark.
Mark, there's a lot of golden pants on Twitter today.
Well, It wouldn't be on Twitter today. It just happened in like the last few hours. We're recording in like, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock right now?
Yeah. November 17th.
Robbie Ray was almost an unanimous Cy Young winner.
Almost unanimous.
Because some
Yankee supporter.
Greg's going to call them a Yankee supporter, but some supporter decided to have one vote for Garrett Cole. We're not going to say where they're from.
New York.
Greg's going to say where might think where they're from, but
I'm going to take a wild guess.
Robbie Ray was so close to being a unanimous MVP.
Cy Young, AL, Golden Pants.
AL East.
Yeah. Jays.
Yeah, good for him, man. And that's the Jays' fourth Cy Young winner.
The other two were Roy. Didn't Halliday have two?
Halliday had one. He won one with Philadelphia.
Okay, sorry. He won one with Toronto. And Clemens.
And Pat Henkin, I think.
Was it Pat Henkin? Ooh, that's going back a ways.
Yeah.
I remember Pat Henkin on the Jays.
Imagine being a team this young with four Cy Young winners. I'm going to fact check that one.
Oh, Mark's looking it up.
But imagine being a team like, 40 years young, and you have four Cy Young winners. So you
won a decade and pretty spread out. Pretty spread out too. Yeah. I'm just old enough to remember the name Pat Henkin. I don't know. I didn't understand awards back then. I was like 5.
Yeah, it was Pat Henkin.
Hey, Mark, that's pretty good off the top of your head. Usually we wouldn't look this stuff up before the show, and we stuck to the plan. We winged it. It's unfortunate now that
for a team that young to have 4 individual Cy Young winners. Chris Carpenter won a Cy Young with the Cardinals, who was also a Blue Jay.
Also, you're right. He was pretty.
Roy Halladay won a second one with the Phillies. Liam Hendricks is like the best closer in the MLB right now, as well as like Ryan Tepera. Like, okay, the Jays have fed a lot of fucking teams, a lot of good pitchers.
Yep.
It's pretty cool though, eh?
It's really cool. I think there's a lot of the Leafs dominate the sports market, and there's a lot of stuff that sort of goes unmentioned in the Toronto media circus. Yeah. And I just haven't heard. I mean, today everybody started talking about it because it was news in the last hour or two. And of course, there's a lot there, and for good reason. There's a lot of other things to talk about, but it's November, awards season for baseball, and we loved watching him all year. Mark raved about him all year, so it's just so good to see. And it wasn't even close.
Yeah,
the voting.
I know Cy Young Silver Slugger might be like a talk about down the road kind of thing, but like Silver Slugger is like the best hitter is like at that position, because you get the Gold Glove and then the Silver Slugger
for each position on the field.
The Silver Slugger, the Blue Jays had 3 of them with Guerrero, Simeon, and Teoscar.
So Teoscar would be. Do they name like the actual field? So it's left field for Guerrero.
Base for Guerrero.
I'm sorry.
Second base for Simeon, and Simeon won a Gold Glove at second base too.
Oh, I was thinking of the other guy. So Teoscar
so
right
Simeon's
field.
a Gold Glove Silver Slugger with the Blue Jays.
He's up for both.
He won both already.
Oh, they've already announced those.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Yes. Let's listen. I think we can all agree that they were the best team that missed the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I hate going back to that Kip Prios argument I had at a couple of pods ago. Like, do you think this team could ever get better? We'll have to wait and find out. Tune in next year.
Yeah, wait till next time.
Feature a brand new Barrios contract that he signed today, 7 years.
Lots of Jays news. Yeah, so the one thing you said right before we started, as we were setting up here, Simeon and Ray are both.
They both declined their qualifying offers. So the good thing about that, if as bad as it is that they didn't qualify,
they didn't sign.
And take the sign.
Yeah.
The good thing about it, if any of those 2 players sign with a different team besides the Blue Jays will get compensated a first round pick after like the first 30 teams get drafted.
Yeah, so it's not like the NHL.
The second round doesn't start until these qualifying offer first round picks
right
happen.
So the Jays don't lose him for nothing, technically.
Oh, it's wicked. It's not that bad.
No. It's still shitty, but
if you trust Shapiro and Atkins like I do, then if they walk for a first round pick after the first round, I'm totally down for it.
Right. Now they'd have to replace them, obviously. Those are big holes to fill. However, we've maybe potentially got a guy in Barrios.
We just signed for 7 years.
That's a while. That's a long time.
Yeah.
So that's
good for management.
I mean, I guess he slots in as a number 2 behind Ryu.
I saw a pretty funny thing on Reddit. The Jays signed Springer, Ryu, and Barrios for 300 and whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
380 million after their whole contract.
Right.
And then one of the comments I saw, well, the Yankees signed Garrett Cole for 20 million less. After a whole contract.
In total. So
imagine having those 3 players. Would you rather have those 3 players $20 million over Garrett Cole's whole salary or just Garrett Cole?
Yeah. Obviously the Jays ones. Yeah, pretty much. And I know, and you could say
and
that.
I even looked at it, I was like, Garrett Cole got paid that much?
Good for Cole.
Good for Garrett Cole.
Good for, you know what? Good for making money and taking it away from the Yankees. And hey, he did get the 1 Cy Young vote, and he absolutely should have been in the conversation. Won a World Series
with the Astros, so
he's done some things.
Yeah,
he deserves it. But as sports fans,
we're gonna dissect shit like this
and be selfish and cheer for our guys.
Yeah,
and hopefully at least one of them comes back as a J. Maybe both, but hopefully one. If you could pick one, just if you could only pick one, which one would you pick?
Robbie Ray.
Is that this? I think that's the same answer that you gave me a month or 2 ago, because I asked you the same thing.
Pitching's too hard to replace.
And Simeon, a touch older. And we do have a couple guys.
And I feel like a lot of people don't understand how young Robbie Ray is as a pitcher.
Yeah, he's been around for a little while, but he was that good that young too. Well, he wasn't this good, obviously.
Well, he was 14-5 when he was 24 or 25 in the league.
With
the dude already knew how to pitch.
The Diamondbacks?
Yeah.
Yes, Diamondbacks, right?
The dude already knew how to pitch. He already had the stuff to pitch. He just didn't know how to pitch. Sorry, I'm going to rephrase that way.
He had good strikeout ratio.
Well, sorry,
but he also walked a ton of guys.
I'm going to step this back a little bit. He just won the Cy Young throwing 2 pitches.
Which 2, Mark?
A slider and a fastball.
To be a good pitcher, to
be a good starting pitcher, you need 4.
Well, I was going to say 3. And if you have 3
to be elite.
Well, 4, yeah, if you have 4 elite pitchers, you are, I mean, that's Roy Halladay good.
Jacob deGrom nowadays.
Yeah. If you have 4 elite pitches, you're you should be going 7 every time out there.
Robbie Ray's repertoire is whatever a long relief pitcher does, but he fucking just it's just, I don't know.
Well, when I pitch, I look at it as 3 different things. One, is speed. You can adjust your speed up and down a little bit.
He's really good at doing that.
So it doesn't change the pitch, but it changes the batter's timing. If you're able to throw a pitch a little bit up and a little bit down.
94 fucks a lot of batters up.
2,
with a fastball.
2 is location. And if you're able to locate and change speeds, there's 2 things that are in your control while you're on the mound.
I feel like location's more important. You and I aren't gassers, and
no.
We grew up pitching just with finesse.
And the third one, and the thing is too, you can argue which one is most important, but I've always looked at the 3 categories, and the third is movement on each pitch, because listen, if your fastball is
straight, it's going to get hit unless it's 100 miles an hour.
Yeah. So you got to have some movement, and that's sort of how you get the strikeouts.
Oh, yeah.
But if you look at the really good pitchers, they can maybe do a couple of those, but it's the really, really good ones. I mean, to be like you've said before, an average major league pitcher is really fucking good.
Oh, yeah.
So a major league pitcher can manipulate the ball, speed, location, and have the movement on each pitch. And it's all those three things per pitch over the course of your pitches, over your repertoire of 2 pitches or 3 pitches that make you a consistent major league pitcher, able to beat batters on a consistent basis, on a week in, week out basis, throw out all the cliches.
Oh yeah. So it's pretty funny. So I was playing a game of MLB today. I was down 5-0 pretty early. And then I used my new Morton card that I got. Kind of got lit up a little bit. This guy was using Walker Buehler. Same kind of like pitching style as Morton. He was lighting me up on the mound. Third time around the order, as I'm down like kind of 5-0. Get a little rally going. Scored 3 runs. And then he gets another home run top at the ending. I'm like, fuck sakes. He kept Walker Buehler in. Got a few more runs off him. And this is when I was just like, I've seen this pitch so many times. Like, I'm just going to hit it now.
Sure. Enough of this.
And then he just started bringing in fireballers who just throw 100 miles an hour. And I was like, these pitches aren't moving. I'm just like looking at where it's coming out of the hand, like in this game. And like, you can relate to it like like any pitch. So I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I'm not swinging at anything that has spin because it's going to move out of the zone.
Sure.
Because like the pitching in MLB, like, but it's that fast. You can't see the spin. So you know it's a fastball.
Right.
So you just gear up and just hack at it. And I have really good timing with the fastball in this game because that's the only thing I can fucking hit because it doesn't move.
Well, and just
came back and won 7-6 and bottom of 9.
You know what, Mark? Just like
IRL. I wish I was streaming it on Twitch. It was a fucking wicked game.
Afternoon stream.
I know. I wish I had like. It sounds like I'm boosting it, but man, this was such a good game. I wish he was an Xbox player too, so I could sign him with GG. He was a PlayStation guy.
You can't message into your console?
No.
Oh, okay.
But this guy I was playing at over fucking 1,000. He was 534 and 502. He had over 1,000 online games played.
Yo,
I don't even have over 100.
Jeez. How long does the game take?
Half hour to an hour. Average 45 minutes.
Yeah, okay.
It depends what happens.
It depends on how quick it is, depending on swings and misses and runs.
Dude, when I was down 5-0, I was this close to quitting. Close. Like I'm holding like an inch meter out right there.
just doing the
I was
tossing
like,
in the towel.
Fuck it, man. I'm gonna figure this guy out.
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
Well, it's funny though, but you put a plan together. You stayed within yourself. You followed the plan. You executed the plan. Like that's
you know what?
A lot of sports are just like that.
He was raking me when I was throwing like bottom of the zone. I was like, I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm just gonna challenge him up and in. And the guy or whoever I was playing couldn't hit shit. I adjusted.
Use your brain instead of just.
But this guy still stopped the same fucking thing every single time, and I was like, all right, I know what pitch is coming right now, and I just sat on it.
Well, but that's the thing, I think. And like some video games are more are better replication of reality than others, but
baseball is the best sports game I've come to a replication of reality.
And I know you like the Formula One, but
yeah,
you're not actually sitting in the car. However,
no, I haven't played online, so I don't know the cheesiness. But with baseball, man, when you lose, it's your fault. And it's one of the only online sports games where, like, when I lose, I can be like, yeah, good for you.
But the difference is, I don't know, and I don't know what the community's like, but a lot of games, depending on it really depends on the community and age of the community and maturity of them. A lot of people don't take that time to reflect upon themselves. It's always like, fuck this, man. It's like, okay, well, you were swinging at every pitch. Okay, well, in hockey, Well,
I play baseball like I did
just tried the cheat code all the time.
Like, I grew up playing baseball my whole life, so I'm playing this game like I treat it like a real... every situation. Like, I know, it kind of helps that I know what you should do in every situation.
Yeah, situational awareness and how to adjust to it. Like we said, just like Robbie Ray did all year.
Oh yeah,
with his 2 pitches. Okay, hang on. Let me just do the quick intro where I tell them that this is the Draft Hand podcast, even though at the start of the episode we already said that. We already rolled that clip.
You think you can cut that into 2 parts?
Nah, probably. Hey everybody, I'm Greg. There's Mark.
Hey.
Want to keep talking? I mean, we spent a good chunk of time on baseball, but there's some hockey stuff. Want to go to hockey?
What do you want to talk about?
Let's do some hockey. Well, you were watching a Flyers game, you said last night.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch the Leafs because my dad wanted to PVR it to watch it later at night, and I was like, all right.
He wanted
whatever.
to PVR the Leaf game.
And then the Flyers
So
had their
the
Hall
Leaf
of
game.
Fame. They were honoring Rick Tocchet.
Cool.
Yeah, doing the Hall of Fame thing, playing Calgary, and it was a fucking wicked game. 2-1, Flyers won. Carter Hart put on a fucking show. Markstrom was fucking sick, man.
So you saw two of the best goalies in the league.
Oh, and they put on a show. Fucking Hayes scored, and as soon as he scored the first goal for the Flyers when they were down 1-0, he pointed up for his brother.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah,
That's awesome.
Oh, it was nice.
Nice. How is Philly doing this year? Mark's got his Flyers hat on,
Man,
as always.
Okay, so a few of their wins are like against some of the best teams. They beat Carolina.
Carolina's on fire.
Yeah. They beat Edmonton.
Edmonton is also on fire.
And they've beaten Calgary.
Calgary. Now, listen.
Calgary's really good. They've beaten Markstrom, and Hart had to play a damn good game to win that. But Hart's been unreal all year right now, too.
The one asterisk I'll throw beside the Calgary thing is we never said that they were a dumpster fire. We said that they were on the edge of being a dumpster fire. I just want to make sure that everybody knows that
Yeah,
we didn't actually call them a direct
Giroux's
dumpster
been
fire.
off to a 6-star. Ellis has been out for a while, but since he's been back, the Flyers have been unreal.
Yeah. How is he looking? How is the Philadelphia Flyers defense, the revamped defense?
When Ellis is in the lineup, the team is different. Ellis is that good. He complements Prover. Like, you have two number one defensemen with Ellis in the lineup. Ellis is that good. He is so fucking underrated, dude. I don't want to get exaggerated about it.
No, but I mean,
You watched him play on Nashville. We watched him in the World Juniors. This dude brings that style every game.
I don't want to say I told you so, but I did.
Dude, he if he stays healthy the rest of the year and the Flyers like get in the playoffs somehow, Ellis could be the best signing of the year.
Trade.
He was Yeah.
It was a trade with Vegas. Regardless, yeah.
Yeah, it was the weird three-way.
Yep. Nashville got Glass in return? ? And Nolan Patrick went to Vegas. There were other pieces, but those are the major ones. And you said Ristolainen out of Buffalo.
His last 6 games, his physicality is what the Flyers exactly needed. It kind of brought them back to like that team they were, just started beating guys again.
Well, they didn't really, the last year, it seemed like they didn't really have an identity. And listening to you talk about the Flyers last season.
They kind of have an identity this year.
Yeah, it seems that way. I haven't watched a single game.
It's been unreal too. We traded Voracek away, who was one of our big faces last year, for one of the big faces in Columbus. It was a face-for-face deal.
Yeah. And so how's he looking? And who's he playing with? Sorry, who is Atkinson playing alongside?
It's the lines have been changing around. I don't really know, but the dude has, I think, 8 goals now.
That's, I mean, how many games? That's like a goal every other game.
14.
Like 16-ish game. Yeah, 14, 16 games. That's where most of them. I should pull up the standings here.
So we've beaten the Caps. We've beaten the Hurricanes. We've beaten the Oilers. We've beaten the Bruins. We've beaten the Flames. And we've beaten the Hurricanes. The other wins are like meh. We play Tampa. We play the Flyers' next 3 games fuck. You know what?
Tampa's going to be a test.
You know what? We got Murder's Row our next 5 games.
Who's that?
Tampa, Bruins, Tampa, Panthers, Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's 5 games in 8 days.
I was just going to ask, any back-to-backs in there? I bet Tampa, Florida is back-to-back.
Thursday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday.
That's a test.
That is Murder's Row. Let's see how these fucking boys do.
Well, the games played, yeah, they don't have as many games played as some of the other teams here. They're at 14. There's a couple
and then
that
they
are
play
13.
the fucking Lightning again December 5th?
Yeah.
What the fuck? You play them 3 times in 4 weeks? How is that fair?
That's all and that after that, they don't play them again. I think they only play them 3 times.
Yeah, that's fair. I like that argument. That's fair.
Get him out of the way, I guess,
Yeah.
before Kucherov comes back or whatever.
Fair.
But that still sucks. So,
I know. I have Vass on my fucking fantasy teams.
oh, Mark, we know. Oh, we know. The two teams that I picked to make it that were locks for the Metro, Pittsburgh Islanders, they're dead last.
Same.
Only two teams in the Metro to have a negative beside their goals for and against. So there's that. And I know Pittsburgh's been without Crosby for a bit.
Malkin all year.
Malkin hasn't played a game yet.
Damaged with COVID and stuff too.
I-
Not as bad as Ottawa.
Ottawa's got games postponed. That's a different story. I read the update on Yahoo for Malkin, and he's practicing. He's progressing. I can't remember the verbiage, but they said it's like a finicky injury with the knee. So he was expected to miss the first 2 months, but he's skating. He's practicing on his own. So it sounds as though he's on pace to return. And there's some news with the Pittsburgh Penguins off the ice with the ownership situation, right?
Lemieux didn't sell his side, but apparently they sold to the Fenway Group.
The Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
Boston Fenway Sox. They're going to be
I don't know if the Bruins,
No, it's not. It's a different ownership group, obviously, because they're conflict of interest. But imagine, all right, the Pittsburgh Penguins are owned by the Sox.
it's like, Gary, are we going to have a fucking outdoor game at Fenway Park with
God.
the Penguins and Bruins?
Yeah, exactly.
Gary, we need more compensation for our owners instead of having integrity in the league. All right, I don't know about that. Integrity in the league. Integrity.
So I'm just flipping through the standings here.
Yeah, how about them Ducks?
I was just about to bring up the Ducks.
Ryan Getzlaf, 1,000 career points last night.
1K. Good for him.
Yeah. And you see Zegras' celebration last night after his nasty OT winner. Did you see his OT winner?
I didn't see any of it. Describe it to me in detail.
He just comes in and he just beat all of...
Who are they playing?
I don't remember.
Other team.
He just beat everybody on the ice, snip top corner, basically almost bar down. Just, you couldn't have picked the corner any better. And then he pulled the Jack Hughes and just tossed his stick into the fucking...
oh, did he?
Oh, yeah.
Into the night?
Oh, yeah. It right into the stands. I like that the kids are friggin' doing it.
Well, and if you have a quick peek at the scoring leaders in the NHL, you'll see a guy by the name of
Troy Terry. And I'm Ducks, who Ian and I might have talked about one day on the podcast.
Once upon a time, not too long ago, because I remember asking about him.
Way back.
I think you might have actually. And I mean, if you were one of those guys that picked up Gibson in Fantasy Puck,
somebody just picked him up in our 14.
Where did we have? Let me just have. I got the rankings here. Did we even have him? Gibson, honorable mention. Mark, only person.
Woo!
I mean, not that you had him ranked, but I mean,
it doesn't matter.
You still had him as an honorable. Anyway, the Ducks.
At least I did a little bit more diligence.
8 wins in a row to sit atop the Pacific Division ahead of the Oilers, aka McDavid and Draisaitl.
Hey, can we put onto the Terry just as many points per game as McDavid to start the year? Every single game he has a point this year.
That's wild.
Yeah, man.
I don't know much about the Ducks aside from that they're kind of in a bit of a rebuild.
Dudes, they're so young this year. They're one of the youngest. Getzlaf pulls that age up probably 6-7 years, but the dude's playing like he's 25 again.
I mean, let me pull up their if combos here.
If you got time to watch a West Coast game, just throw the Ducks on, man. No matter who they're playing, that team knows how to score, and John Gibson is saving pucks like it's nobody's business. And they got a pretty mean defense with Shattenkirk, Lindholm. Oh, I forget who else they have.
Fowler, Manson.
Yeah. No, Manson's not on the team anymore.
Josh Manson?
No, they traded him to Buffalo or whatever.
He's on their it's on Daily Faceoff. He's on their
Oh, they re-signed him?
I don't know.
Oh, sick.
They got him. Top line. Anaheim Ducks, Getzlaf, Henrique, Troy Terry. And the line 2, you got Trevor Zegras.
Forgot to even bring up Raquel and Zegras.
Super young. Well, Zegras is line 2.
Well, we were talking about him just now. He nipped hard.
Yep. Sonny Milano and Nicholas Delorier. That's line 2.
Sonny Milano was drafted by the friggin' Blue Jackets. He was a stud with the U.S. team in the World Juniors.
And then you got Jakob Silverberg, Isaac Lundstrom, and Mason McTavish on line 3. And there's a couple names that jump off the page. We know Zegras is good. We know Troy Terry. Troy Terry is like a third liner last year, so he's. Listen, if you're putting the puck in the net, you can play whatever line you want. Go nuts. Yeah. They're a
friggin' mad exciting team. Here, I'm showing Greg the goal right now.
Okay, so who are we playing here? This is Zegras OT on...
Holy shit. OT goal against the Capitals.
The Caps are pretty good too.
Yeah.
The Capitals are good enough for...
I'm about to show it to Greg.
Second place here.
Here he goes.
Oh, nice. Okay, so it's like a 2-on-2, and he just beats him. Oh my gosh, yeah, okay. 2-on-2.
Yeah.
They, defense played it really well. 2-on-2.
Little shot though.
Little stutter step to the side, and listen, you put the shot where it needs to go. Like, there's not many. That's pretty unstoppable.
That's a wicked little.
I don't love the Washington Capitals goaltenders, but at the same time, like, you know what? You beat the guy. You beat the guy.
Yeah.
So good for Ed Ovechkin's. He's scoring. He's at an incredible pace right now too. He passed Brett Hull for 4th of all time in scoring. Guy's getting closer, climbing his way up there, and everybody wants to see him do it. We've talked about this before. Yeah,
but Draisaitl's pace is pretty insane right now too.
More than a goal a game.
Yeah,
unbelievable. I was looking at that today, and a lot of credit goes to Connor McDavid at the same time, but they make space for each other.
I want to give a lot of credit to McDavid. A lot of these goals are Draisaitl driven too.
I completely agree. I just think that each one of them makes space for each other. Like Draisaitl makes Draisaitl makes McDavid better.
The same way versa. McDavid is making Draisaitl. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're
it's almost not fair. And
unbelievable.
I don't hope Edmonton wins shit, but I hope those guys win shit. Like, you hope the Oilers win for their sake. Yes.
It's like nobody really on the Oilers
play
really
for Edmonton, and they play. Like,
Nurse has been unbelievable too.
Oh yeah,
Nurse has been really good. That's one of those things. Like, is he going to replicate last season? And it looks like last season wasn't a flash in the pan.
Tyson Barrie's not doing that great.
No.
I
haven't watched Edmonton either.
In our league, eh?
Oh really? That sucks. We had him pretty high in our rankings.
94%.
If anybody cares, I apologize if I keep referring to the rankings because if you don't play fantasy, but at the same time, this
is in our banger league though.
Well, if you produce, you're good. If you produce, then it's worthwhile. If somebody, we don't go too in depth on fantasy hockey stuff that the lay person couldn't follow along.
No.
So.
No, they know Barry's having like half the season he's been having like last year.
I haven't watched Edmonton. I've seen highlights, but I haven't like specifically watched the
Flyers game against them. Didn't hear him that often, and like they've been late on CBC and stuff like that. So I've just been listening for names and stuff as you fall asleep and you don't hear Barry. I know he has a 3-point game on like the year, but
if you're on the power play and they go off on somebody, you have to have some skill for that to happen, but do that consistently.
How'd you feel watching your boys primetime on this week?
Preds Leafs? One, I love watching Saros.
He's fun. That save against Matthews?
Unbelievable.
Dude.
I don't think anybody goes laterally better than Saros does. He's not the biggest.
Maybe a younger Quick. Like Stanley Cup Quick.
Like there's so few.
I know exactly what you're talking about. That's what I'm saying.
Maybe lateral movement. The thing on Saros is he's under 6 foot.
Yeah.
Who's the other goalie that's under 6 foot in the league? There's two. I can't.
Bernier's still in the league too, so
I thought it was
probably
Bernier.
3. Bernier's under 6 feet.
But then who they mentioned two on the broadcast? I didn't catch the other one
I don't know.
because I know Bernier's 5'11".
Yeah.
And Soros is about the same. So they're under 6 feet. So
I know just Bernier because
yeah, he's former Leaf. So Soros, the thing of him, he'll get sniped on just by virtue of being smaller, like just a smaller surface area covering the net, so over his shoulders and stuff like that. You don't beat him clean very often, like underneath him. So that second goal, it was just like a weird shot or whatever that sort of in between his legs. But man, like that save on Matthews. There's a couple other saves that were really impressive where it was sort of against his body and he pinned the puck like a sponge against him. Yeah, closed himself off. Just so fun to watch. Yeah. That's sort of what you say in the biz. You know, you eat the puck up or like a sponge.
No,
you swallow
I know,
it up.
but it's different than like I know when I'm gonna beat him in there, and he just
closes up the 7 hole between the arms and stuff like that.
He's just hungry like fucking like the Cookie Monster.
Cookie Monster hungry. No, Saros was really fun to watch. Campbell's also really fun. Like it was a good goaltending battle back and forth. Nashville isn't great at penetrating the defense inside, like in the home plate, sort of between the circles area. They're a very perimeter team.
Yeah, they're
not great at it.
Yeah,
but you know, Matt Duchene quietly having himself a pretty good start to the season. He's on the leaderboard. Granlund too. Giroux. I was looking at how far down we had Roman Josi on our pre-season list, and he's unbelievable again. Like he's putting up big points, and I just think, like, looking at the standings, I've watched Nashville a bit. There are nights where they're a little sleepy, and then there are nights where it's like they're buzzing, like their kids are buzzing.
In the lineup, right? He's hurt, no?
I didn't hear his name. The other night.
I think he's hurt. I don't know for sure.
But they have a couple young kids. The Predators do.
Oh, Trennan?
He's pretty good.
He's sick. And he was a troublemaker too.
Yeah, not afraid to get in the dirty spots.
Yeah.
Not afraid to get his nose dirty. And that's sort of like, that's the Nashville way of, it's like scoring by committee. They've never had a 40 goal scorer.
I hate to tell you, Nashville's like a dirty fucking team too.
They're
not like I'm saying dirty in terms of like they go out of their way to like push the liberty on
a little. It's sort of like that old school Western Conference style that
they're holding to it as long as they can as well.
But the thing that I like about it is that it's sort of the culture of the team. It's not like one or two guys does it and it's just annoying.
You still got Poley as your GM.
You still have Poyle, yeah. So, but everybody sort of chips in and
contributes. It doesn't matter. Like,
it's a team toughness.
You could win. If they played 4 games in a week and they went 4-0, you would have won all 4 of those games differently.
The Preds, yeah,
I'm saying the Preds.
They could.
Or a team like Toronto needs Matthews and Nylander things to score.
Yeah, I mean, and
the Preds just figure it out.
And we didn't.
Sometimes they get overmatched, but they'll happens.
Get out. You're right. They'll get outclassed. They don't have that big scoring forward. That's score by committee. That's what happens when
you're a mid-tier team as well, too.
Yeah, but they do have those young kids on the team, and so like Giroux, like you mentioned, Kunin.
No, mine was Trennan.
Sorry. Yakov Trennan. Kunin plays on the top line with Granlund and Duchene. Tomasino's pretty good too.
And the guy who I really like, Tolvanen, hasn't really been like getting his due.
He was playing 4th line minutes, and he was on the top line last year.
I saw that for the start of the Leafs game.
Yeah, when they were rolling through the lines.
I already dropped him on my fantasy team.
Oh boy, he'll be one of those guys when one of those other guys cools off, he'll step in, and it's by committee with the Preds. They have that young talent on the team. Their defense isn't crazy, like they incredible. Yeah, and any team would.
Saros is still playing good.
Any team would. But I think Saros is opening a lot of eyes because a lot of people had questions at the end of last year with with Rene. And it's like, oh, it's it's a 1A, 1B situation. And
he's a
and
legitimate starter.
Soros wasn't a 1B last year. He was the guy. And
Rene was shit.
As
much as I don't want to call Rene shit, Rene didn't play good. I want to reiterate.
Pekka Rinne was at the end of Pekka Rinne's career.
I have to I want to take back ever calling Rene shit.
Okay, fair. No, he just wasn't as unbelievable as he has been when he was in his prime. And that's to be expected. He was, getting up there, and I had a lot of pucks stopped over the course of his career. But Soros, man, fun to watch just because he's a smaller goaltender and he's not just a big blocky style. He actually makes saves. And it wasn't just the Matthews one, although that was unbelievable. The only part, it's like, darn, if you'd caught that, that would have been unbelievable. Just to add that little extra, icing on the cake.
TSN 1v1 play.
Yeah. Okay. Enough about the Preds though, because I think everybody. Well, I'll mention that they're doing pretty well this year. They're in the playoff spot right now. They're. Not a great division. Chicago's trash. Arizona's trash. Dallas can't score. If so facto, they're in there. They're in the mix. So good for Nashville. Do they expect to really do anything? No, but Poils kept that team respectable for longer than I think a lot of people thought they would, and they're doing it through the draft, and they're just doing it by not. They're hanging around, they're being pesky, and sort of what we talked about a few minutes ago. It's that sort of they have a team culture, and that's something that a lot of other teams. We talked about Calgary not really having an identity. We've talked about some other teams not having an identity, but Nashville seems to have held on to that identity.
Yeah.
Through this turnover
even
on their
after
roster.
Barry Trotz too.
And that's huge.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that can be said to having a consistent front office.
I kind of wish Ian was on this one too, because it would have been so nice to talk about how good Detroit's playing.
Are Detroit still in the playoffs right now?
They're holding on to the wild card spot.
Because they're ahead of the Bruins
right now.
We talked about it a couple weeks ago.
But man, Mortis, Sider, and Lucas Raymond are studs.
They are
already
on fire.
Did you see the hit Sider threw against Raffle yesterday?
Raffle, yeah, sent him flying. Yeah.
And that was probably one of his first actual hits in the entire league.
Yeah.
And then you saw guys trying to go after him, and they were like, "Oh no, this is probably a bad idea."
Detroit, 18 points, 18 games. They're hanging on. They're ahead of the Bruins with asterisk at the time.
5 games in hand.
5 games more played.
How do you play 5 more games?
They've just been busy, man. They've been busy. They've been traveling, and their GM has been driving their players around and stuff.
They used to have 17.
Yeah, they're up there.
Carolina is 14. Where do you have to travel for Carolina? You're literally in the middle of everything.
You are one of the major hubs for airline traffic in North America.
Even Philly, you have 14 and you haven't.
Well, but that's why they have 7 or 5 games coming up in 8 days or whatever. They have one of those
stretches. But it's also
stretches.
teams I don't want them to face, but also I love the 8-4-2 record.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it kind of sucks that it sucks to see the Senators and the Canadiens down so far. They're not doing too great.
Expected though. Islanders down there is surprising.
They haven't had. Varlamov has just come back. He's played 3 games right now. I haven't seen a single one of them.
You know what's fucking crazy? Amy has Sorokin, and she's sitting second in her fucking league.
Sorokin's been doing okay.
She's like, my team's so shit. Amy, you're sitting second.
Yeah.
It's still bad.
Can we talk about my team for a second? And after 3 first-round picks, I am second last right now.
You literally get stabbed with injuries.
So Kucherov injured. Crosby drafted first overall. Mark dropped Crosby because Mark's team was unbelievable a couple years ago. We passed over last year, and so we went back to 2 years ago. He had to drop Crosby because his team was unbelievable. So Crosby first overall has played almost no games for me, and I took Varlamov really early too, just because I grabbed a goalie. and Talbot, which those might have been controversial picks. Minnesota's been good. They have not looked great defensively.
Oh. So
Talbot's
They've
like
been opposite soda.
They literally are the opposite of what they normally have been.
Good for them.
Winning games. They're coming back and winning games. This was a few weeks ago now. They won that one where they came back 6-5 and won in overtime. That's not the Minnesota Wild that I'm used to. I'm used to it being like 1-0. Quadruple overtime.
Now they're fun to watch.
It's 0-0 after the shootout. Minnesota Wild hockey. Someone's like, that's not possible. That's the point. Okay, sorry. So, anything else?
We're
you
not
want
misleading anybody into anything.
No. And do you want to mention the other teams, or do you want to we could talk about the Leafs here if you want. Oh, a couple things. Actually, I wrote a couple things down.
Oh, Greg still got shit to talk about.
Eichel, successful surgery today.
Not today, but...
Or a couple days ago. But it was like recently.
Yeah.
Recently. Like this week. Successful surgery on his neck. I heard he walked out of the thing.
He got a complete disc replacement.
He got a new neck.
No, just a disc in his spine.
Oh, sorry. I'm not a doctor. Mark's a doctor.
No, I just read what...
Mark read the doctor's report.
No, I read what was on fucking Twitter. And it was like, oh, this is what happened to Eichel. I was like, oh, cool.
So...
It took Buffalo it took Vegas that long to figure out what Buffalo couldn't figure out.
Well, the thing I love about Vegas was they basically said, you have done more research than we have, re this. What do you want to do? Okay, we'll sign off on it because it's your career as well as our asset. We're partners in this. And they got it done. It would, like, I read somewhere it was less than an hour, or it was like an hour in and out.
Is minutes. We'll call it minutes.
Now, at the same time, a lot of surgeries are a lot quicker now because the tools, they don't have to open you up completely anymore. Sorry if I'm being a little vulgar. But they can just make a really small
it's all
openings.
Laparoscopic.
Well, yeah, it's all, they could be using nanobots. I don't fucking know.
Probably.
No,
Go in,
so.
like,
That's
just...
some sci-fi. But you know what I mean? Like, it was in and out real quick. Happy Eichel. The NHL is better with Eichel on the ice.
Yes.
Probably not making the Olympics.
He's on the West Coast now, or the West.
Yeah, get him out there. Yeah, fuck that. Go score, and that'll be an unbelievable. I don't like Vegas on principle, and I've told you why, but that'll be an unbelievable line if and when they can all figure it out and be healthy.
That Vegas put out the effort to get this guy to get his thing done for him.
As cheering for people, absolutely.
And a team that young to go out and do that too.
Well, you know what, Mark? That's really interesting you say that, because Vegas has a reputation, the Fleury trade. People didn't like that. People didn't like how it was, and whatever their intentions were.
The way it was orchestrated.
And how they sign guys or trade for guys, and the joke is you're here for 2 years and then you're out. Like, they're not loyal to many players. Their front office seems to just treat their roster like a turnstile. It's a business. They get paid a lot of money, but they have no problem shipping guys out of town from Vegas. That's the reputation Vegas has. So it's very interesting that they did this almost to endear themselves, get that reputation of being that team that's on the players' side, especially after the Fleury shenanigans and those allegations. So it's very interesting. At the same time, they're very different. One's like almost a humanitarian, like, let's just do what's right by the person. And at the same time, you could argue that the Fleury situation wasn't, because he has to move his family. Like, that's a whole thing too. But it's also not his livelihood, physical livelihood. It's his family's social livelihood, I guess you could say.
Still reflects the Fleury's livelihood.
Just not in the physical medical sense, but in a social sense.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's two different things, but it's just interesting that paradigm, that dynamic, that maybe Vegas is realizing the optics of the moves that they've made are not great. And maybe this is starting to mend those. I don't know. It'll be interesting to sort of watch
where it goes. like we said about this. I don't have anything to say. I think you fucking nailed this right on the coffin.
Dude, no, yeah. So said one good thing once, but hockey wise on the ice, Pacioretty, Stone, Eichel. Mark, off the top of your head, I'm not saying
there
those guys.
There isn't a line better in the NHL.
I was gonna say, is there a line like McKinnon, Landeskog, and Rantanen?
Maybe McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman.
And Hyman brings that line down big time. No offense to Hyman, but just caliber wise.
But
like in that group of 9 players,
Patches,
Hyman's the worst.
And Eichel, I don't think you can defend against.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, the Leafs technically could have Marner, Nylander, Matthews, but they don't naturally play together on a regular basis. That's a power play line. And you're moving somebody out of the right wing position like that. What you don't see it on a regular basis. I don't think there's the perfection line. Bergeron's getting old though. That's Bergeron, Marchand, and Pasternak.
I know.
They're just for the listeners, just to make sure that they understand.
Yeah, that line.
Okay, question, Mark. Straight up, would you take Pasternak, Bergeron, Marchand, or would you take Vegas, Eichel, Stone, Pacioretty?
Eichel, Stone, Pacioretty.
Or would you like to take the Colorado trio?
Colorado trio.
You would take them over? McKinnon, Rantanen, and Landeskog.
I think McKinnon's the best player out of all of them. And Rantanen's the third best. And Landeskog's the fourth best.
I'm trying to think of another line to compare. The fact that you can count on one hand.
The only line that you can compare is the Boston line, just based on longevity and the fact that, like, they're gonna fuck you. Like, Bergeron or Pasternak or Marchand is just gonna do something to fuck you.
Mark, are you having flashbacks to
I'm not
April?
having PTSD. We all know what Boston does to teams.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
they just. Yeah, like it's good arguments.
And I can't think of a line like Crosby's never had a dominant line because it's been him with
X and Y.
Or L and P. Name 2 different letters of the alphabet. It doesn't matter.
I just went mathematical.
Washington's never really had. It's been Ovechkin and like maybe Backstrom or Kuznetsov. Like they haven't. It's interesting how those 2 guys they haven't had.
The teams have
distinct lines. Like remember back in the day, like who was that big Colorado line like from the Patrick Waugh days?
Sakic, Forsberg, and Hayduk,
or the Leafs. For the couple years there.
Sundin, Roberts.
Yeah. Like isn't it funny how like. Those lines, and I mean, back to Vancouver when they were actually good pre-Bertuzzi incident, it was Naslund, Bertuzzi, and Brendan Morrison. But isn't it funny how there just hasn't been those like legendary line combinations in a while? Like that, the closest thing is
trio,
Boston.
Yeah, a trio of guys just dominating the league.
We haven't had those in so long. I mean, salary cap has a lot to do with it. Has Tampa had a line like that? Like Tampa's sort of been a mixed bag because they've had injuries.
Tampa's been a mixed bag of goodies because, Tampa's just Tampa is the most delicious bag of popcorn you're ever gonna eat because no matter how stale or like how long you wait to pull out, like just pull a fucking handful, it's gonna taste good with that team.
But they didn't have like one dominant line, did they? Like one trio,
Skutra,
but they weren't together on a consistent basis.
No,
it was like a power play.
They haven't played long enough to call themselves dominant, even though Tampa is dominant.
Tampa collectively, just because they're a collection of goodies, like you said,
they're the best bag of popcorn you're ever gonna eat.
Man, I cannot think of. Who did they have? We should probably mention the San Jose line. Thornton, Marleau,
Heatley,
Team Canada. Yeah, from the Olympics. That was
It was a sick line.
That was a sick line. Dude, they were on the Olympic team. We need to actually, maybe this weekend, we'll see if, see people around with doing Olympic team.
Wait, the season start, like the Olympic team is fucking, might be a pretty
Have they
good
announced their list of 50? They're supposed to list, or 55. They're supposed to list 55
I don't know.
players. Doesn't matter. We can still do it. The last,
like, man, what's going back to Anaheim? The way Getzlaf has been playing, man.
I mean, Canada's got a lot of options, but
I know, but the way Ryan Getzlaf has been playing, man, this guy's playing like fucking like he's 25 years old again.
Wow. I haven't watched Anaheim, but
he was drafted in our last round this year in our keeper. He's a top 40 player.
Damn. Oh yeah. Damn. The last guy I got written down here, the New York Rangers, Kreider.
Chris Kreider.
12 goals in 16 games.
Greg, I have him in our keeper league.
Fuck off.
He's the best. He's so good.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. He was really good a couple years ago, and then he got injured right at the end of the season. So he's the Rangers also have a lot of toys.
You know what fucking kills me? I drafted Matt Barzal 3 rounds before this guy.
Was Matt Barzal not been any good? I know I just dropped Anders Lee.
He doesn't
today.
get hits and stuff.
Yeah, I dropped Anders Lee because Anders Lee hasn't doing anything.
I have the 12 goals with like 3 hits per game.
Oh my god.
And 3 shots per game.
When Kreider does everything for you. In fantasy, Kreider does everything.
He's ranked 9th in our fucking league.
Yeah.
Like our banger in a banger league. He's top 10 player in the banger league right now.
Yeah, hits, blocks, points. Plus minus.
Goals, a shitload of goals.
Yeah. Who does he play with? I haven't looked at there's it's early in the season. It's hard to keep track of all of the teams at the same time just because I've been doing other shit. I play hockey a couple times a week. I'm on the ice another couple times a week, so it's hard to watch everything. But during the pandemic, the first year of the podcast, there's a pandemic, so I wasn't running off to play hockey and stuff like that. Now I have, so it's a little tough to keep track. This is me stalling for time as I pull up Daily Faceoff again and watching ads as I pull up.
Oh, I thought Greg was just like talking.
I was doing it really naturally. Rangers lines.
I had a good skate today. I played a nice round of shinny. It was my second time on skates in 2 years.
Mark, that's a while. How do you feel afterwards?
Honestly, I feel great. Cardio was amazing, surprisingly, but like I had good legs. I could pivot and do all my crazy shit that I can do skating. I'm a pretty good skater. I literally anytime the puck was on my stick, it was a hot potato.
Ha. Well, that's expected though. Your hands, there's nothing that you can really do to replicate stick handling. But
I could still rifle a puck though. Holy shit. I use a noodle of a stick. Like if you're a hockey player, I use like a 70 flex.
I grabbed
so when I lean into whenever I
flex.
lean into my stick, it fucking
noodle. Yeah, I just picked up an intermediate stick when Nationals going on sale over here, and it's the first time using an intermediate stick. I grew up as a goaltender, so I don't know. I was using a senior, but like one of the lower senior end sticks, and as soon as I picked up the intermediate one, I was like, "Oh, I can shoot." I need to cut it a little bit. I had a couple skates. Coaching skates. I just started firing a puck around with an intermediate stick, and I was just like, I feel so powerful right now.
Yeah, so
it's
I
cool.
use like an intermediate stick with like a 4-inch extension on it.
Oh yeah, I got to keep that back straight, Mark.
No, I've been playing with it for like since forever.
For a long time.
Yeah, I grew up playing as a defenseman, so I play with longer sticks. So I literally play with a noodle.
I got the New York Rangers lines here. We got Zabinajad, Kreider, and Gaudreau. Now Gaudreau was a third liner with the Tampa Bay. The comment that I made was he was an excellent third liner and he was getting paid $1 million. The deal, the extension, you got to fit into the pie. So if you're a pretty good player at $1 million, doesn't mean you're going to be a good player at 3 or whatever his contract is.
Yeah, they're trying to fit him into the pie.
But if you're playing top line, that's pretty good. And you know what? Kreider obviously scoring a ton of goals, so I'm going to give credit to his line mates.
Been good. Kreider's been with New York for forever, though.
And he's been up and down the lineup. Last year he was like third line, but he was still producing. He was still getting things done. or maybe that's a couple years ago. At some point over the last couple of years, he's been up and down the lineup. Second line is Strome, Panarin, and Capo Caco, and it doesn't hurt that you have a guy named Alex Lafreniere on the third line. So, Fox and Trouba.
Fox has been
Lindgren
literally
Miller.
a Fox this year.
And I wonder, I saw one game with Shesterkin, but I think I talked about that a few weeks ago. I really like Shesterkin. Like the way he plays. He moves well. It's not top of mind, and I think I talked about it. So that's what I have written down on this piece of paper. Other than the Leaf stuff, if you want to go to Leaf stuff, we got a little bit more time here. I got another little bit of time. Well,
if you want to talk about Leafs,
9-1-0 in the last 10. So they're on fire.
I've liked Campbell's games. Campbell and Anderson have been really good. Best two goalies in the league.
Sorry, Anderson for Carolina. Yeah. So top. Did you want to talk about the goalies at the top? I know you wanted to talk about the goalies at the top of the thing.
Okay, the one thing that is like you go to look at it, Frederik Anderson and Chad Campbell, top two goalies in the league right now. When you like,
and James Reimer's up there too.
Yeah, but when you outlie Campbell's and Anderson's stats, they're the best two goalies in the league, and it's so friggin' awesome. Just like, I feel good, like just being such an Anderson backup, and he's having a good year with Carolina.
Yeah,
I like he's supporting me.
He's like, that guy in Toronto, they all hated me up, but that one guy
he doesn't
didn't.
know I stood up for Anderson, but he's sticking up for me.
Yeah, he's making you look pretty good. I think Ian had him pretty high on our ranking list, but I mean, it's early in the year, but at the same time, like, you can't deny what he's doing. Markstrom's doing really well too. He's up there. Calgary's doing really well.
That's what I mean. I was like,
the biggest surprise
such
is
an outlier for those teams because they beat both of them.
Yeah,
and I'm like, yo,
yeah. Leafs wise, 9-1-0 in the last 10.
They've been killing it.
The big guys have been scoring goals. I thought they were moving the puck pretty well in the power play against Nashville. I know there were some points of the game where they sort of.
I didn't watch
vanished.
the Nashville game because I was watching the
PVR piece. And then a couple games ago they had Woll start.
Oh yeah,
his first
I picked
NHL
him up,
start,
and then he was going good till the third, and then he gave up 4 goals.
Well, and it was the Sabres. Yeah, it was. There's a couple that I didn't like. We know what his first NHL start.
CBC also needed to make Saturday exciting.
Yeah. Yep. Man. Yeah, Woll looked okay. We did this a few weeks ago. Now
he did his job. I don't want to analyze it if he did his job.
Well, one thing I just want to mention, we mentioned this a little while ago, is the Leafs not developing any goaltenders. So if they could develop a guy like Woll, you're going to give him a couple starts here and there as Mrazek is getting healthy,
as he deserves.
Yeah, sure. Go back, play with the Marlies, develop a bit more. There's no rush.
And he only had a bad maybe 8 minutes of hockey.
Yeah, there's one where he had Marner's stick in his hand, and I think like the weight of the stick sort of threw him off a little bit too.
Doesn't matter. Like, they
won the game.
Hey, that's the end of the day.
At the end of the day, they won the game for him. And the Sabres are better than a lot of people give credit for. They score goals, so in a building that was empty, by the way.
I couldn't believe how sparse that place was.
You could have dropped a paperclip at center ice and heard the friggin' thing. Anyway, did you watch the Leafs Flyers game? We haven't done a podcast since this weekend.
The shutout game?
Yeah, 3-0. Did you watch that?
Yeah, Flyers played like shit.
I don't think there's anything else you really need to talk about that. I just thought, I'm like, the Leafs won. It was a clean game. But I was just like, the Flyers sucked.
I think Flyers might have played back-to-back too that game.
I can try.
I'm not sure,
check.
But Flyers just played like shit, and they played a lot better against other teams.
You know what? They played the Capitals on Saturday, then they had Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off, and then played the Leafs. I don't know.
Inexcusable.
I don't know. But you know what? Like you said, the Flyers have been playing well lately. I couldn't believe the Flyers played that. I just wanted to ask you about that. I forgot that they played each other. It's been a while.
I was excited to watch that. I was excited to watch the game because I knew the Flyers were rested and the Leafs were like playing. I was like, Fuck, they played like shit. Sorry, like correcting myself now. Yeah, they played like complete shit.
Mm-hmm. Nylander got a couple goals. Nylander's a guy who's been buzzing.
He's been buzzing, but he's the only guy who's been disciplined for not playing too good, even though he's been like your best player. Kiefer sat him, which I don't like when I've watched a lot of other guys play a lot worse than Nylander.
Like who? Name names.
Marner. Friggin' Riley's kind of played like dog shit at the start of the year. Like,
yeah.
Even though the teams come around, they've won 9 in a row, but like Nylander got sit, I think, 2 games ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't really warranted. It was like to prove a point. And it's like, what point is there to prove when he's been your best player?
Yeah. Fair question. I don't have the answer.
Yeah.
But it's a fair question to put out there.
No, but you remember, he was sat for the third period against somebody. I forget what game it was.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
But I was like,
I can't remember.
He played good. He might have turned the puck over, but like, you want him to play that style. And if you're going to discipline him for trying to play that style, for turning the puck over, for being skilled, you're contradicting yourself as the person telling him to do it.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
I don't want to make up an excuse from the coach's side just because I don't particularly remember that instance, but I know what I know what you're saying. Like, hey, we want you to play free and creative, but
you can't give him a but.
Well, they did apparently. That's what we're saying, right?
But I feel like all these buts are after the fact for Nylander. Oh, it's a but and it doesn't come like,
just doesn't sit well with you.
No.
Yeah, I got you. On defense, I think I've seen some optimism. I've liked Liljegren.
I've liked Sandin.
I've liked Sandin too. I've liked Sandin more consistently than I've liked Liljegren, but at the same time,
Riley's played a lot better the last few games.
Since that contract, since that sort of got off his chest, I think he scored that goal. Nice backspin on that was the game winner against Buffalo. That was kind of it was funny how that went in.
Yeah, it didn't cross the line initially.
Yeah, and then it flipped back. And then we got a little bit of
seen that, like, man, fuck, you gotta watch that in slow mo. Riley hits back bar, comes back
crossbar
out in front.
Crossbar down.
Crossbar comes back down and puck just spins back in.
We'll trust the listeners have seen the replay because it was played a lot last week. Just like, look at this hockey thing, and so that's kind of neat. I don't want to. There's nothing I have too specifically about the Leafs. I do have a couple things though. They picked up Kyle Clifford.
I think he's an AHL
trade.
pickup just to have him there because I think he just wants to chill with his family. Because if the Leafs really wanted to, they could have picked him up when they
waivers
through waivers.
Yes. It seemed I think he's from Toronto. In which case, like, if you're from Toronto, like, it's nice to play on the Leafs, but like the Marlies are right there. They practice in the same venue. Like, you live in the same part of the city. And a good depth call up. He's a tough guy. I think they wanted to re-sign him a couple of years. Was it last year or 2 years ago? I think they would have re-signed him, but it would have cost them a higher draft pick from that trade. He came over in the Campbell trade.
I think they just picked him up to keep the Marlies bolstered, and once the season comes down to the nitty gritty, if you need a guy, they have him.
They have a few tough guys. It's not just like they have Simmons now. They got, I wouldn't call Clifford tough. He plays a bouncy style of hockey. Yeah. Well, yeah,
he plays tough, but I'd call Simmons a lot tougher.
Yeah, no. Simmons is a different weight class. Than Clifford is. That's for sure. But you pick up a gritty guy, a veteran who can play in the lineup if needed.
Yeah.
So there's that. So, and it costs them nothing. And if it's one of those where the St. Louis Blues just wanted to sort of do the right thing, kind of like Vegas doing the right thing for Jack Eichel, It was just like, hey, if you're not going to play, instead of I don't even know who St. Louis's farm team is. We'll give you to the Marlies.
It was did it with Sam Gagner to give him to the Marlies.
Oh yeah, they loaned him. Yeah, that was a few years back.
Vancouver loaned him the Marlies, let him come back here. Now he's playing third line minutes with Detroit.
Yeah, isn't that funny, eh? Yeah,
but no, it was.
Hold on, we got to go back. So because I don't think people will remember that. So yeah, somebody sent down Gagner. Was it? It was Vancouver, right, Mark?
Yeah.
Okay, so Vancouver,
the AHL team Utica loaned him to the Marlies.
Right. So Sam Gagner is from Ontario. He's from the GTA. So instead of going and going down to Utica, sorry for the people in Utica and or Vancouver, the Vancouver franchise loaned Gagner to the Marlies, not the Leafs. So he was still property of the Vancouver Canucks organization under contract, but loaned to the Marlies just to do right by him and have him play with his family. So that's be with his family in Toronto. So Kyle Clifford could be a similar situation. I wouldn't be surprised at all to see him in the lineup at some point, barring, if there's an injury or two or whatever. So Kyle Clifford, I mean, it's just kind of cool that it comes full circle. It's just kind of cool that they picked up a guy. And worst case scenario, at the very least, you're bolstering your AHL team. I have no idea how the Marlies are doing. I should probably look at the AHL standings and see what the Marlies are up to. But from all intents and purposes, they have a pretty young team and there's some talent there. So cool. Also, I thought it was really cool to have one of the best defensemen in the NHL, and John Tavares, captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs, doing the ceremonial face-off with Phaneuf when they did the Phaneuf ceremony. So that was cool to see Phaneuf
I liked
back.
how they got Phaneuf there so last minute.
Unless he's in the area.
Yeah, but the fact that they were able to set that ceremony up with him announcing his retirement within like the last whatever hours.
It basically happened quick. It was like, announce retirement, boom, there. I'm assuming the Leafs would know. I hope the Leafs would know and just set it up ahead of time. But you're right. Like, it boom, happened real quick. It wasn't like they didn't drag it out a month. They just did it right away.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Dion Phaneuf over Dion Phaneuf? Career-wise, Leaf-wise, memories of Dion Phaneuf. Reminisce.
On ice, you know my opinion on him.
No. Well, not really. I mean, I don't think the listeners do.
He was a shadow of what he was in Calgary. Off the ice, I don't think there could have been a better represent since almost like Sundin for Toronto. The dude was always at Sick Kids. He was always like everywhere with just doing work for the city and for the team and just out there representing the Maple Leafs in the right way. As much as I hated him on the ice, the dude was always doing the right thing off the ice. And
I don't think that's a lot. I think that's something that is really missed by a lot of the fans that don't see that unless you happen to be all over social media. Yeah. And a lot of what he did wasn't posted everywhere just because a lot of that stuff, they purposefully try to, play that down a little bit. But he was here for the dark years. Like, he was supposed to be, he came in and, changed the music in the dressing room, and it's like, oh, you're the captain, but then he lived up to it.
Hey, man, I saw some of the shit he did, Sick Kids and stuff. Like, man, Phaneuf's, it's like, you know how I feel about his performance on the ice.
Yeah. Not the greatest, however, as soon as you walk away from the rink, it's, nothing but respect for the guy.
There's not a bad thing I could say about the dude.
I was trying to think, like, what on the ice, the team on the ice, though, because I think that's what people can relate to most, and we'll put in our back pocket. Hey, great guy off the ice, and give him full credit. Who? I was trying to go down the list of players just off the top of my head. What did the teams look like? Because they weren't great.
I feel like of all captains represented the Leafs the same way off the ice. the same way. Like, even though Phaneuf didn't have anything to represent on the ice, all those captains still represented the Leafs, like, probably the same way off the ice.
Well, that's why the Leafs don't just give out the C.
Yeah.
It's not like some organizations where it's just here is a patch for your jersey, guy.
And I'm still letting everybody know I fucking hated Phaneuf as a player.
Right. But you draw the line.
Oh yeah, the guy was a great human being.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk. But like I said, the listeners can't relate to the off the ice stuff, so it's good that you're able to speak to that. Yeah. On the ice, though, like what I'm trying to. So we had Phil Kessel. The top line was basically Bozak,
Dude
Kessel.
To be respected more again.
Sorry?
Dude needs to be respected more again. I can't wait till Kessel goes to the Hall of Fame as like a.
Well, that's another conversation because he has a couple cups. He has quite a few goals. Arguably could have won.
Break 1,000 points.
Arguably could have won the Conn Smythe
the 1 year.
Yeah. So,
he was the best. He was the best offensive player in the Olympics in 2012.
Was it 2012
or 2014?
I can't remember. 20 might have been 20. Yeah, 14 would have been the Olympics.
Yeah,
10 was Vancouver.
Yeah, 2014. He was the best offensive player in the Olympics.
Was he on the Leafs at the time? Mark's nodding. Yes,
with Van Riemsdyk.
That was the top. Was that the top line during the Phaneuf years? Was it Van Riemsdyk? It was JVR, Kessel, Bozak. And Lupul was in and around, on and off the top line for a year or two. Lupul was also a really good player. I mean, I know he got randomly injured, but also I think he was more than a point a game on the Leafs. Lupul was.
He probably flirted with it.
And do you remember who the goaltenders were during the Phaneuf years?
Reimer.
It was Reimer
Giguère.
And yes, we had Giguère for a while. Dang. And like I don't without looking this up, because that's no fun. Even though it is a podcast and somebody could be looking it up right now and just being like, it's these guys. Who was Dion Phaneuf's regular D partner? I don't think he even had one. On a regular basis, he did not have. In Calgary, he had Robin Regeer, and I think that really, really helped him. Robin Regeer was, in my opinion, what made Dion Phaneuf look really good on the ice, because Dion Phaneuf could run around and be Dion Phaneuf. And let's be honest, the league, he came over to Toronto in and around when the league started to change, when they started to go faster, and he started having a tough time keeping up. Like, listen, he could still throw hits, and it wasn't as fast as it is now. But Dion Phaneuf, if he had been a Leaf 10 years earlier,
when he was on Calgary,
no, but like, let's imagine putting Dion Phaneuf on the Leafs with, like Brian McCabe, Caberlet, Sundin.
You can't do that.
But what I'm saying, it was a different era.
Yeah.
He would have been a hero.
Yeah.
On the ice, he would have been so the league got faster.
He didn't try to get good when the league got good.
Well, it's not. I don't know.
You can tell because he couldn't skate.
I think that has to do with talent level, and somebody drafted him for the old NHL.
I don't know. Greg,
it's the same as Luke Shen.
In the league for as long as he is, you think you learn how to skate.
Well, Mark, you can say the same thing about, like the Leafs still drafted Luke Shen, and that was also a similar situation.
He's still in the league.
True. Hey, he won a cup.
He's won 2 cups.
I just think at some point, ability, like when you're good at one thing, you find your niche, and his niche sort of
but when I watch Luke Shen play in these like NHL games, he doesn't look out of place anymore in the minutes he plays.
You can tell he's not. Listen, he makes it work somehow. He makes it work.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Where Phaneuf was like.
Well, I know you're not a huge fan of him. I'm trying to give him a little bit of credit.
I know.
I'm just trying
I give him credit too, man.
Good
for him for being a captain and sticking through the years for his Leaf fucking captain.
And afterwards going and playing for, some teams that were also not the greatest. Like, he never really played for
he played with the Kings.
Really good team. And
he went
to
the Sens.
Yeah.
Well, maybe because he wasn't that good anymore. I'm sorry. I fucking hate knocking on people's careers. Sorry, Phaneuf.
No, he made it. He did it. He did the thing. And I'm glad he got a nice ovation at center ice.
So did I. I was very happy about that.
And I thought it was fitting that you had Roman Josi, one of the best defensemen there, doing the face-off with now captain John Tavares. So I thought that was really good. I thought it was really fitting.
Like I said earlier, I was happy that happened that quick.
Yeah. Don't drag it out. Just celebrate it right now. Boom. Leafs have come a long way since then.
It was good. It was a good PR move.
Yes. Excellent PR move. Anything else you want to add here, Mark? Leafs wise, I mean, listen, we haven't done a show in a couple weeks here. I was at the cottage, so
I got nothing.
I mean, Campbell.
We've all seen what they're doing. Jack Campbell's playing good. The guys are scoring. We got Riley signed. That's about it.
The last thing I'll mention.
We haven't had any injuries to talk about.
Yeah, we've been pretty lucky there.
So
aside from Mrazek, of course.
Yeah, but we don't talk about broken glass. It just always breaks.
The last thing I wanted to mention here, we got like 5 minutes left here. I got a hockey game tonight, so I got to run to that. Canadian men's national team in Edmonton.
Where is it? Which one is it?
I don't know. No, it's not that one. I don't know. I don't know which button it is, man. You're the one.
We don't know what button it is, so like get the.
No. That's the applause. You got it.
There it is. Okay. We got the applause.
So the Canadian men's national team, 2 wins in Edmonton. They won last night in the snow against Mexico. I know Mark caught a bit of the game.
They at least shoveled off the pitch.
They shoveled off the football field.
The pitch. It's a pitch.
You could still see the numbers.
It's a pitch, Greg. It's not a football field. It's a pitch.
Football field.
We're going to be correct with this.
Football.
It's a pitch.
And that Selly.
People love me for calling.
Yeah, that Selly into the snow. There's already heritage moments.
Did you see the one guy yeet himself into the fucking pile?
Yeah, into the snowbank. Like that's. I saw memes like instantly on the social medias. Those heritage moment.
You know
things.
What that reminded me of? You remember going away in like those hockey tournaments with like the hot tub in the fucking hotel, and then you'd go outside and like just jump into the snow.
Oh, jeez.
And then you go back into the hotel room.
Yeah.
Or no, the hot tub.
Into the hot tub. Yeah. They looked like they were having a good time. Mexico did not. Until the very end. The last 5 minutes were pretty hectic, but pulled it off. Amazing. Looked like an amazing atmosphere in -9 or 10 temperatures, which, let's be honest, in Edmonton, they're used to that. It's cold, but if you're moving around and having a good time, like, and a soccer game isn't really, it's 2 hours. You're there for 2 hours. It's not quite as long as a.
Could you imagine those
game
fans in a normal and like 10-degree weather? How crazy it would have been.
I think it would have been equally as crazy. I think the snow was perfect for just like
Canada, like
Canada
this
soccer.
Is what we are.
Yeah, exactly. It's very, very on brand. And I mean, I don't know if I think Soccer Canada, Canadian soccer,
on top of the friggin' CONCACAF right now.
First place in the CONCACAF for the World Cup in a few years.
For this year.
Is it for this year?
It's for this year's World Cup.
Next year's World Cup.
No, well,
yeah, 2022.
Well, it's this winter.
Yeah, soon. It's like the World Cup coming up like next.
The next one's in Mexico, Canada, and United States in 2026.
Oh yes.
Yeah, so if Canada
in Qatar, I believe.
Literally, yeah, the one in 2022 is in Qatar.
Yeah,
but like that's like this winter.
Quite the opposite weather though of the snow. It'll be hot, but.
It's taking place into winter, so it'll be less hot as like summer there.
I guess it's near the equator, so I mean it's pretty freaking hot. But I think I heard that the team, the Canadian team, picked Edmonton as a location. I think you're allowed to pick your location. Then they didn't go BMO Field, they didn't go Toronto. I don't know. My question is, was BMO Field unavailable because the Argos were playing the same night at BMO Field, and I don't know between TFC. I don't know if Is TFC? I don't think TFC is still playing, but they might be. I don't know. I should probably know this. But
Fargo shouldn't have been so good and like made a playoff push.
yeah, well, yeah, there's that. But they decided not to go to Toronto, stayed away from Vancouver, and went to Edmonton. And
you know what? It could be
that crowd really embraced them.
2026 World Cup to show that you don't need to go to Toronto.
Well, I think that's a good thing too. Is to reward other cities with this.
Yeah.
And it's also what's his name's hometown.
Rosario?
No, Davies.
Alfonso Davies.
Yeah, he's from there. So that's pretty sick. That's pretty cool. So I just thought it was after the Leaf game. I think I watched a touch of the Argo game after that. Argos they didn't look great. They weren't starting their starters because they've clinched.
They already clinched.
So they were playing Edmonton, ironically enough. And then
it's funny how all that shit rates itself.
Yeah, it's how it all sort of mingles together. And then I noticed that the soccer game was on. I was like, well, I should probably be watching this. Listen, I'm not going to pretend like I know a lot about soccer, but if you watch sports, a lot of sports have very similar themes, and you could just tell that Mexico's getting pretty frustrated. The Canadians were loving it. If you're in that weather, it's that sort of climate, and something like that really brings people together. And
we've all been there
in one way or another. Yeah, in one way or another. And I think that was just really great. Listen, great goaltending, a couple great goals. Couple, chippiness, a couple dives here and there.
It's like the time when your brother was in here, we were watching the game. I forget who it was, and we saw 3-4. We were like, Andrew was like, put the soccer back on.
Yeah.
And that was one of the World Cup qualifier games. And I've never heard him say that in my life.
Yeah, what are those words that came out of your face? Yeah, really cool. So tip of the cap to them, and they've got a couple games left.
We didn't even touch on F1 on this one.
No, I don't. I gotta go here in a minute. But what's his name? Won from last to first.
Lewis.
Literally, he started the sprint in last, which the sprint qualifying in last. At the end of the weekend,
it was a sprint qualifying.
What's that?
He's lucky it was a sprint qualifying.
Yes. Yeah.
He would have had to start dead last.
If it was, but at the same time, like
he still did it.
Yeah, he still.
I can't take that away from Lewis. That was
beautiful. Still did, and I love how Verstappen basically said, he's like, yeah, he was just better, like faster car. No one was stopping him today, so that was really neat too. I watched the highlights. I was on the way home from the cottage during the race, but I refreshing on my phone. You just watch him go up climb the ladder. He didn't start that far down, but it was just he
started 10th.
Looked like he was on a mission. You could just tell. Sucks that Perez wasn't on the podium. Glad Bottas was. I eat up every podium Bottas has from here on out, just because he's going to Alfa Romeo next season, and like, let's be honest, he's going to be mid-pack. He's going to be a midfield contender probably. It'd be cool to see him on a podium with another team. Like, that would be unbelievable. But let's be honest. Like, you know what I mean? Anything else to add there from the F1?
We talk about the drama the next time Abe's on here.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next time. Cool. All right, let's wrap up here. Enough of this. I got to go play hockey, Mark. I got to go stop some pucks.
Well, I hope you stop.
I hope to stop. Oh my God. It's the one thing. It feels so late because it's dark here at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
It's not even
now.
9 o'clock.
No, it's 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock, and my game's at 8:15 or 10:15. Sorry, it's at 10:15. 5 hours of darkness. It just crawls by. I mean, this hour hasn't crawled by. I mean, we've been on for about an hour, just under an hour and a half. But it feels so much later. It's crazy. Daylight savings. Did it hit you hard?
No.
Not really? Well, you're up early anyway, so like when
I didn't even know like it happened.
Your phone just does it.
I was like, oh, you're giving me more hours of sleep, kind of.
1 hour, yeah, 1 extra hour this time around. You have to give that.
We just finished work a little earlier. We just started a little earlier, so we leave a little earlier.
Do you ever work in like when it's? Do you notice though when you're leaving work, it's like significantly darker now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But at the same time, you get there, and you're not getting there. Are you still getting there in the dark?
It's hard to see in the morning. Wouldn't call it dark.
Okay, but it's not.
It's not like 3 weeks ago.
where you're working for an hour in the dark. Yeah.
Yeah, but everything's like slowly catching itself back up.
Mm-hmm. I got you.
It happens a lot faster than when daylight savings turned itself over.
Right.
Like when it turns itself like back.
When you spring.
Yeah, it happens a lot
forward.
faster with the darkness than it does with the daylight.
I got you. Cool. All right. Well, let's wrap it up there, Mark. What do you say?
With what? Christmas gifts?
Yeah. Guys, thanks for listening. We'll catch you on the next one. Everybody, enjoy. I don't know, is Thanksgiving coming up? American Thanksgiving? If we don't hear from us by then. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's next week.
So enjoy that. And until next time.
Enjoy your week of football.
Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Twitter @DraftInHand.